Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, was released in 2013 and developed by Starbreeze Studios. For over a decade I've been hearing good things about this game, and I've recently gotten around to playing it. In so many ways, this game lives up to the hype and is truly a wonderful experience. In other ways, this game completely drops the ball. To fully explain my love-hate relationship with this game, I've got to talk about the whole thing. So spoiler warning for pretty much the entire game. The world. Throughout the game you play as brothers Nai and Naya, as they journey through a beautiful fantasy world. It's literally so nice that the devs put benches across the map just so you can admire the scenery. This game is full of environmental world building that constantly poses questions without answers, such as what happened to these giants or who captured this griffin. I was so impressed with it that by the time that I was only halfway through the game, I was already wanting a sequel just to see more of this world. The music. The soundtrack to this game is fantastic. Whether it's a somber moment or an uplifting one, it always rises to the occasion. It's easily one of the better things this game has to offer. The controls. One of the cool features of this game is that you get to control both brothers simultaneously. Assuming you're using a controller, Naya, the older brother, is controlled with the left trigger and the left analog stick, while the younger brother, Nai, is controlled by the right trigger and right analog stick. It's a little clunky when both brothers are holding on to something at the same time, like this pipe, or their dying dad, but it rarely comes up throughout the game. It's also a little confusing when the brothers occasionally switch from their respective side of the screen, but by the time you reach a 2-hour mark, you should be completely used to it. The bad. This game suffers from a real issue with tone. More specifically, the tone between certain sections of the game and the sections that immediately follow them. An example of what I mean is moments after you bury your brother who died, like Super died, you bury him and everything. You take a majestic ride on a griffin through a beautiful landscape to really uplifting music. Another example is when you enter this brand new area and you immediately see somebody about to hang themselves from a tree, and a few minutes later you have a happy little journey up a mountain while riding goats. These sections would be fine on their own, but without a smoother transition between these scenes, it feels really jarring. The ending. My biggest issue with this game is the death of Naya, the older brother. To give context, towards the end of the game you save this lady, who, afterwards, attempts to lead the brothers unknowingly into a trap. The older brother wants to follow her because she gave him a kiss earlier, and the younger brother wants to go another way, presumably because he doesn't trust her, or perhaps he just trusts the directions they were already given. This game's dialogue is mostly fictional, so the specifics are unclear, but it doesn't really matter. The younger brother gives in, and both of the brothers follow her into a cave. They fall for her trap, and the lady reveals herself to be a spider centaur. They fight her and brutally kill her, but not before she stabs the older brother. He unfortunately dies of his wounds before the younger brother can save him with the magic tree water that is supposed to be able to heal people. While burying his brother, the player is forced to physically feel this loss, as you can no longer use the older brother's controls. Which I'd just like to say is such a cool way of connecting the player to what's happening to a character. When the younger brother returns home, you have to use both brothers' controls to overcome his fear of water, and to make it home to save his dad. He makes it to his dad to save him with the magic water, and the game ends. As for why he's afraid of water, at the beginning of the game, we're shown a flashback of the brother's mother drowning at sea, and Nai blames himself for her death. Throughout the game, Nai refuses to go into the water unless his brother helps him swim. This game is about loss, and Nai overcoming his fear of water is clearly meant to show him coming to terms with it. The issue is this only happens because the older brother died for nothing. There is no lesson to be learned or character growth that comes from his death, unless you count becoming suddenly stronger and able to jump higher character growth. He only dies because if he didn't, he would have helped Nai swim across the water returning home, meaning Nai would still be afraid of water. Sort of like how the griffin drops him off from the beach instead of like 40 feet higher at his house for the same reasons. Final thoughts. So is this game good? Well, it's not great. There are some good things about it that I feel at least warrant a single playthrough of the game just to experience them, but I don't feel like the game can offer much more than that. I'll give it an R8 out of 10? Yeah, that seems fair.